Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Now, no offense intended, even if will be resulted after my statements. Canada is the lapdog of the United States of America. And United States of America is the lapdog of. Okay, so you might not like that, but that's a fact. Why? Because Trudeau and his garbage government is trying to be important on this planet. I mean, his narcissism urges him to do that, and all the garbage around him. I think there's some criminal people over there as well. Why? I think they push a policy for Canada that runs against the Canadians' national interest. What's going on here? After Canada, I would say, got smacked by China, and when I talk about Canada and China like that, I'm not talking about the Canadian people or the Chinese people. I talk about the imbeciles in charge, okay? That's what I'm talking about, the governments. Because I think we are like in a farm, kind of like an animal farm of George Orwell, remember? So we are in a farm, and they are over there, they're the farmers. Unfortunately, from time to time, as you remember, the animals succeed in taking care of the farmer after they take care of the pigs. No? Or with the pigs? No? No. They first take care of the farmer with the pigs, and then the pigs take over, right? Correct. Well, the same. This thing's gonna happen over and over. What happened? Canada got smacked by China a while ago. I will explain. And now it receives an order to be smacked, unfortunately, by India. All these two countries are enemies. They don't call them that way, not partners of United States of America. And somehow Canada introduces itself in the ass that you don't need Canada as well. One cock is enough. You don't need a pinky finger as well. So anyway, what do we have here? Canada provokes India, I would say, by creating a diplomatic issue, which is a sheik. He was Canadian, I think, living in Canada, who promotes the breaking of India, was assassinated by someone in Canada. If you remember, Trudeau came very concerned and pointed a finger that has credible evidence that those guys were Indian agents, remember? Now that could have been solved behind the scenes, diplomacy and so on. They could have find the perpetrators and blah, blah, blah. But no, they jumped straight into those were Indian agents who killed, assassinated a Canadian citizen, I think, on the territory of Canada. Now that guy, because we got freedom of speech here, including in Canada, just try to exercise it and see how much freedom of speech you got in Canada. But nevertheless, that sheik was allowed to claim and promote, the breakaway of another country. Canada respects free speech. All right. Now, what happened next? The Indians said, Dr. Jay Shankar obviously said, well, don't talk like garbage, Trudeau. Bring the evidence and we're gonna talk about it. Once you bring the evidence and we look at it, we can talk. Until then, shut the fuck up, go and get your toys, go to your self place, do a little bit with your little pussy over there and shut the hell up. That's what the Indians said. Not like that, but that was the translation to what Dr. Jay Shankar said. Now they come and say, well, we're going to charge these Indians. What do you think will happen? And that's going to get me to these attacks that I reported, used in my videos. When primitive-minded, this is the last one, primitive-minded Biden calls Japan and India xenophobic for not accepting immigrants like we're supposed to, because why? We are the general global rule, not the special case. But anyway, now, strong India smacks US. India says US Department pop. India smacks US moralizers who interfere in India's internal affairs. And then listen, watch India Foreign Minister Dr. Jay Shankar smack two infantiles, blah, 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 Blinken another one. Those were all attacks by the United States of America, the guys in charge, of Indian government trying to change their policy, which is, we told you not to buy Russian oil, not only, not to do business, because we can tell whomever, we can kick people around, like they did with Imran Khan, the former Prime Minister of Pakistan. He did not want to do that. Where is he now? He's going to be probably dying in somewhere. That's the next step in Pakistan. He was barred from for running, competing, running, and so on. So what's going on now? They try to obviously use the technique of shaming. When the United States wants something from you and they tell you to do it that way and you don't want, they give you a little bit of warnings, then it turns into threats, blackmail, and then a little regime change. All these were tried. But in this process, they will try to shame you. Somehow you don't respect, you violate some human rights somewhere, like religious freedom, free speech, democratic process, and you ban this. Some things you don't do right according to me. Therefore, you're a bad dude. Therefore, I'm legitimate in fucking you up. That's how the racket goes. And India is too strong to say, you know what? Bye-bye. See you never. Okay? So that's what India did. So right now, they activated a little pinky finger in your ass, which is Canada, to do what? Do what they do best. Following orders, I say. But hey, nevertheless, let's look at this article. Canada charges 3 Indian nationals for assassination of Sikh separatists. By all means, charge them, find the perpetrators. But this is not the problem. The problem is they want to put together Indian nationals with the Indian government hitman. That's what they want to put. And this is Canada. Makes a big deal about it. Big deal. 3 men have been arrested and charged in Canada for allegedly murdering a prominent Sikh separatist. That's a guy who wants to break a country. According to Indians, I think he's a wanted man, terrorist, whatever they call him. According to police, in a case, I'm not saying that Indians can send a hit squad in Canada and murder, like the Ukrainians do in Russia. I'm not saying, or Mossad does wherever their interest needs. All right, or begs, please send a squad, Mossad. Okay, I'm not saying that, but you should go to a process. But as long as the Americans can use drones to hit violate another country's territory, airspace, and go and destroy what they, I don't know, how to call it, they labeled as a terrorist, and they do this with impunity. Why? Because what are you going to do about it? Justice, freedom, laws, fuck off. We can do it, you can't. Yeah. That's how things run. So now if India did the same thing as the Americans, we have a problem here. But when the CIA used the drones in Afghanistan to kill a terrorist, yeah, man, that's so uncorked. I'm not promoting that guy. I don't know who that guy was. I'm just saying this kind of activities are acceptable for some, but not acceptable for others. I don't think they should be acceptable whatsoever. You try to bring that guy to justice. You try to eliminate him. I mean, look at the U.S. president. The U.S. president, I'm pretty sure he's an enemy of certain kind of countries. Iran, North Korea, whatever. I'm just to mention like that. Are they legitimate in eliminating that? I mean, according to these guys, when they do it all over the world, I don't like that guy. He's, what label? Oh, terrorist. Okay, put terrorist. This is a terrorist. This is the direct consequence of being labeled to whatever. If they call you tomorrow a terrorist, and they can't grab you because I know you're in Alaska or somewhere with a reindeer, all right, jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle bells, then what are you going to do? Well, he was a terrorist, man, everybody, come on. Says who? Intelligence community, they told you. How do they know? It's confidential. They're not going to share with you because we don't want to endanger the lives of our brave men and women and they and bella in the field. Fuck off. I mean, they treat us like retards because we react like retards. So in a case Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has previously linked to Indian government in the first paragraph, drawing vehement protest from New Delhi. In the first paragraph, the suspects were identified in court filings as The men are accused of conspiring, and I'm quoting, with others to commit the murder of this guy right here, according to the filings. They are also charged on a second count for using a firearm. on or about June 18, to commit first-degree murder, end quote. All three suspects are Indian nationals and non-permanent residents of Canada. Police said in a press briefing on Friday, authorities are currently investigating if they have ties to the Indian government. Well, didn't he say right here that they do? So what are you investigating? You first investigate and then you say. No? You have to have some grounds to say, but Prime Minister Justin Trudeau previously linked them. He said credible evidence. And when Dr. Jaishankar challenged him, bring them on, you say, Justin Trudeau said, let me put the black mask. Fuck off, man. Here it is. Right here. All three suspects are of Canada. Police authorities are currently investigating if they have ties to Indian government. The latest development in a long-running intrigue that has fueled diplomatic tensions between Canada and India. Now, look at it says this guy, Canadian citizen, he was a Canadian citizen, was gunned down by a masked man on June outside Papapa in British Columbia. He was a prominent campaigner for a separate Sikh homeland out of India, which would be known as Khalistan and include parts of India's Punjab state. All right, now I'm not saying he should be gunned down, obviously. Next one. I'm going to talk about the consequences. And the consequences are this. My friend from Canada. The Canadians have a lot of immigrants. And a lot of immigrants are, many of them are Indian and Chinese. What do you think would happen? Remember, these guys here, and that's a basic, policy. When you are at war, war like this kind of war, or, war underneath, these guys rounded up the Japanese citizens who had, Japanese heritage in those camps, concentration camps. Remember during the Second World War? Why? The reason is very clear. Because possibly some of those still have allegiance to their home countries. Citizens or not citizens, they did this to the Japanese. And they also, in Michigan, in Frankenmuth, if you're not familiar with that, it's used to be and still is supposedly a German enclave over there. During the Second World War, it was quarantined. That means it was surrounded by U.S. military, army, and they were quarantined. They say, why? Why? Because of the same reason. They were afraid these guys would do something, subversive actions within the United States of America. So, do you think that those guys who are in Canada have all Canada allegiance, including the fact that they look at the government of Canada and say, these guys don't represent me and don't represent the Canadian people. So where's the allegiance? Maybe they are illegitimate where they are. Can this thought go through people's brains? I'm sure it goes. So remember how many Canadians you have in India or China. And India and China population is like this, and your population is like this. All right, those guys 1.5 billion each, about, and you got what? 40 million, out of which 10 million are immigrants. Immigrants, not immigrants from, recent immigrants. So you potentially have, let's say 25%, about 25% that could be enemies of Canada in your country. And let's say you got the 25%, let's get you at 10 million out of 10 million, you got a few 100,000 that possibly could do some shit in your small populated country. But you can't do shit. So be careful, Canada, the Canadians. Hey, yeah, okay. Get more of this kind, and then you see what's going on. They're going to shape your community. You're going to shape your country in a way they like it. You might not like it, but who cares? They're going to vote you out little by little. Oh, no. That's not conspiracy theory of big or great replacement thing or something. I'm not talking about that one. All right. It's something else. So again, these guys, Indian nationals charged in murder of Canadian Sikh. This is Bloomberg. I thought I should, and we have the guilty one right here. Modi. Why? Because Modi doesn't follow Western's orders, United States and the guys who have United States by the balls. Canadian police charged 3 nationals, Indian nationals, on Friday with first-degree murder. Poop. And there you have it. So in any kind of confrontation between Canada and India, I think Canada will lose. Why? Not only you have a small population, very small population, and a vast land, but you also have inside millions, I would say, of possible Trojan horses. And you don't have in any of those 2 countries. Now, China. What happened to China? Remember, these guys were click activated Trudeau again to be tough on China. Remember when Xi Jinping just grabbed Trudeau by his little whatever, and he said, hey, you don't do these kind of things. And Trudeau, we are living in we're free countries. And he was parroting like a little fucking 4th grader a poem, whatever he memorized. And he says the same. And have you heard he's like a pussy? He's always like this. I watched some encounters with Poilievre in the House of Commons, whatever you got over there, I think so. And what the fuck is that? Yes. Nevertheless, so that was Xi Jinping. What happened? It was that highway. I think it was that CEO, the Chinese CEO, that was arrested in Canada on suspicion of something. And she was in house arrest. And China said, don't play with the Chinese fire, baby doll. And then Trudeau, you know, pant, how do you call it? Pant. You know, and then those guys arrested 2 Zelensky Steins, Canadian Zelensky Steins, that they say these are spies. Arrest 2 of them, put them in prison. And Canada was like, Canada, Trudeau, you can't do that. And they did. And then what did the Chinese government said? I'm not defending those guys whatsoever. They said, so are you going to release her? Because we can grab some more. And you have them here, former this activated. I think they released her after about a few years. After the Americans, after they told Trudeau, patted over the head and gave him some sugar, good boy. After that, they said, well, maybe you should slow down. And Trudeau was all crying like a bitch. Canada doesn't like that. Canadians don't like. The fuck, Canadians? You are not representing Canadians. By your position should represent it, but you as an individual, I don't want. You're a weasel. And that's a very mild term that I will use for that pussified Jesus. So there he is. Canada challenges India. Why? What do you have to gain? I'm not saying truth should not be told. Should be told. But it seems like this is the second time, and it's the countries these guys don't like. Trudeau is not defending freedom, democracy, and free speech and all that. Get that out of your fucking system. It's not that. He uses when he likes it. He doesn't use it when he doesn't like it. And that's it. Freedom, Canada. Nevertheless, here it is, challenging. Who's going to win? I think India is going to win. India is going to say something, or India is going to arrest 2 Canadians, I don't know, with some kind of pornography thing, and they're going to say these guys are spies and blah, 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 blah. And that's it. And then the guy's going to be panting again. And that's it. Easy. But they were activated. Why? Because those guys cannot be independent. They have to follow orders. And they don't want to. It's too fat for me. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.